All right, so last week I started the episode on this really cocky note saying that, oh, we're growing and we're going to surpass Maroon and all this stuff. And then this was our slowest week yet. So I feel like you guys aren't doing a thing. So before we start the episode, hit that subscribe button. And in 3, 2, 1, cue killer nuclear music. Big news, new button has showed up on ChatGPT. Brand new button called Code Interpreter. Hope this is better than some of the plugins. You've actually been telling me Code Interpreter for like a while.
Yeah.
Explain what is Code Interpreter? Why is it such a big deal?
So Code Interpreter is like this slightly different model of ChatGPT, that has access to a code execution environment. So it can run code. Like old ChatGPT, you could tell it, okay, write code for this and it'll just give you the code. Then you have to copy paste it somewhere and set things up. But here, this thing can execute code for you. So it's got a Python execution environment. And I don't know if it's got other environments. I've only tried the Python one. But then if you tell it, okay, here's an Excel sheet. I want you to conduct this analysis and give me a chart. It can do that as well.
So data analysis and writing code. Writing and executing code.
Writing and executing some types of code, data analysis, chart generation. It can do a lot of wonderful stuff. So Python has a lot of packages that you can use to kind of, manipulate text, videos, etc., etc. Now you need to know the names of these packages, but most of us don't know the names.
Yeah. So now it's basically made it's super simple semantics.
Yeah. So it's figured it out, right? Like it figures it out. For example, if you upload, let's say an Excel and you say, delete all the columns that have XYZ in it, right? Or you can say, hey, create a chart for this. So it'll use some Python library to actually go create a chart for you, right? So it reminds me a lot of that statement that eventually all programming is going to be natural language. Like you're just going to say it in plain English and it's going to do it for you and give it back to you. So I think the best way to kind of, put in action is to use it.
Yeah, let's test it out.
Okay. So we've got the IPL data set. So let's go to OpenAI, ChatGPT, GPT-4, Code Interpreter. So we're now in Code Interpreter. Instead of uploading, one file, I'm going to upload two. I'm going to upload a zip which has 2 files in it. One is the IPL ball by ball sort of summary.
One is the match summary.
One is the matches summary, right? Now, this is data of the Indian Premier League. Give me 3 interesting insights along with charts. All right, first I'll need to unzip the provided file, smart boy, and inspect its contents.
There are 2 CSV files, yes.
So it knows that the file probably contains information about individual matches and the second one is ball by ball data. So now it's loading these files and inspecting their contents.
So this is like Auto GPT, but for analysis, it feels like.
It's not just analysis. Like I've seen demos, I don't know if it's possible now, but I've seen demos of people putting up videos and saying, "Aise edit karo, do a slow zoom into it."
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's any code, any Python package. I assume it's hitting some sort of Python library at the back end and just saying, hey, I want one of those package managers and saying, oh, I want this, I want this, I want this. And then, through natural language, you're just saying, okay, give me something that can cut and it's finding the right Python library.
It can even edit video.
I think so. Let's try.
So can I build a Premiere Pro plugin which is connected to a GPT-4 Code Interpreter API?
It won't have the execution environment of Premiere Pro. But I think we could create some sort of simple native video player here. Okay. It's got you the chart, your first chart. See, it's created a nice, pretty chart for you.
Yeah. Mumbai Indians has the most number of wins between 2008 and 2022. Chennai Super Kings is number 2. Kolkata Knight Riders is number 3. Oh, okay. And RCB is at number 4.
Is RCB really number 4? Does it seem like RCB is really
with the most number of wins? They might not have...
Match wins.
Match wins.
Okay. Next, it's going to move to the second insight, which is most valuable players, which is based on player of the match awards.
Oh, this will be interesting. I think MS has won the most player of the match awards.
Okay. Your bet's on MS. My bet's on Virat Kohli.
MS purely on because he's played the most number of games.
Oh, AB de
Villiers. Most number of player of the match awards. Interesting. All right, MS is in the top 6. Dude, Yusuf Pathan is in the top 10. Wow. Okay, cool. Virat is, I think, number 10.
Distribution of runs scored in an over. It's going to give me distribution of runs scored in an over.
Okay, so according to this, the most number of runs scored has been in the 6th over. Oh, that's interesting. Based on this data, can you predict who next year's top batsman is going to be? Next year's top run scoring batsman. Let's see if we can predict just based on data. It's a predictive model based on historical performance. However, note that cricket is unpredictable sport. Yeah. Just tell me what you think so I can go and make my Dream 11 team.
Oh, smart. So generally, right? I mean, people are very fuzzy with these terms, but a data analyst is somebody whose job is to visualize and analyze the data to kind of break it down and say, hey, here are past ka insights. A data scientist's job is to figure out what is going to happen in the future. So he's like, a data scientist typically forecasts the future. So as you can see, it's doing the forecasting / predicting.
It's not able to forecast that well. So this data is still 2022. And in 2023, Shubman Gill was the top run scorer. So let me ask it, what does it think of Shubman Gill? Yeah.
Okay.
Based on this data, how do you think Shubman Gill is going to perform next year? Next year in IPL 2023. It's doing so far it's doing basic analysis. Do you think we can use it to build something that can truly predict more accurately?
Yeah, I think nobody can predict the future, right? I think that's the main challenge. But statistics suggest that Shubman Gill has a solid performance in the IPL so far. With a decent average and strike rate. Can you ask you a question? In the last 4 years, who was the worst player?
Who was the worst performing bowler and batsman in the last 5 years? Let's see.
Now I'll give you defining the worst.
Can be a bit subjective. Yeah. Worst is a harsh word, guys.
Don't say worst. Say slightly bad. See, it's smart. It's saying, let's start with the batsman, but we'll only consider players who have played at least 20 matches.
Yeah.
That's smart.
That's smart. By my level, that's smart. I'm sure there are actual statisticians who are like, this is basic, guys.
Yeah, but they cost more than $20.
That's fair. So according to this, it says that Bhuvneshwar Kumar has the lowest average runs per match. But he's a bowler. He's not meant to bat.
But it says that. However, it's important to note that Bhuvneshwar Kumar is primarily known for his bowling.
You don't consider bowlers. Consider only batsmen and tell me the worst performing batsman based on average runs scored per match. Batsman until number 6 in the batting order.
But that's the cool part about having OpenAI also somewhere. I mean, GPT also somewhere in there, right? It knows who the batsman is and who the bowler is, even if it might not be in the data, right? It'll say, okay, batting order. I mean, if the strike order is XYZ, then maybe this person is a batsman or this person is a bowler. It's capable of guessing. So it's a statistician who also has understanding of that domain.
So according to Core Interpreter, in the top 6 of the batting order, Shreyas Iyer has the lowest average runs per match, which is 8. This means that on average, when he has batted in the top 6, he scored 8 runs per match. But of course, it's a simplistic measure and doesn't take into other accounts like match situations.
But Shreyas Iyer is a batsman.
He's a batsman. He's a top order batsman. And in fact, people are considering him to be like potential future captain and all now.
GPT got it wrong.
GPT is not, but interesting.
Is that data true though? The result that is giving me is his actual runs is only 8.55.
Is this true? Can you double check? Oh, it says there has been an error in the previous calculation. Average of 28 per match, which indicates a much better performance. Dude, it got it wrong.
Ask you to give a graph. I don't understand this much text.
I don't understand this much text.
Give graph.
Give
graph and explain.
Give graph.
And explain.
Bitch.
Be nice to the AI, Tanmay.
It's generating.
One day it's going to get really good and be like, that one day Tanmay called me names.
Bitch. but it's fine.
This is my issue with data analysts in real life also. There's too much mental gymnastics to come up with anything.
No, but that's because we want instant answers, right? We don't want the cognitive load of thinking. I'm here to assist you. It's important for a conversation to remain respectful. So, okay, sorry, GPT. Sorry. First of all, sorry for calling you a bitch. Secondly, can you double check the calculation you made on Ben Stokes? Are you sure? So according to this, Ben Stokes' average in the IPL is about 15 or so, whereas KL's is 40 plus. No problem. I'm here to assist you. How sweet.
It's confirmed.
In the last 5 years, yeah. When he batted in the top 6 position in the batting order. Okay, got it. Interesting.
Let's use Code Interpreter in a different way. Okay, there's a video of Domino's Jetpack. Let me show you the video first.
Check this video out. Domino just launched a campaign with the Domino's employee wearing a jetpack suit going out and doing a pizza delivery. Now, jetpacks used to be sci-fi when I was younger, but they've actually become reasonably safe now. Domino.
Okay, let's do one thing, okay? First, the top part of the video ends at around 7 seconds, okay? So I'm just gonna pretend like I'm a noob video editor. I'm just be like, firstly, clip this video down to just 7.
The first 7 seconds.
The first 7 seconds. Okay? Add a blur on the lower 51% of the screen in the video.
Okay.
Okay. Then add subtitles over the blur. I have no idea if this is going to work.
Yeah, let's see.
Okay.
Can't edit video. Can you not argue with AI? At least try. At least clip it to 7 seconds. Oh, it's clipping. It's clipping. If you beg, it works.
Check this video out. Domino just launched a campaign with the Domino's employee wearing a jetpack suit going out and doing a...
It actually clipped it. That's nice. It clipped a video for you. It can do simple stuff. And if you can find the right... Eventually, you'll just have access to a lot of Python packages at the backend. You don't even need to know the names of the packages. You just can use it on the fly.
Cool. What else can you do with Code Interpreter?
So, you can export your Spotify playlists. So, let's export
Instagram Reels top trending 2023.
Okay, that's nice.
We exported a Spotify playlist data
called Instagram Reels Top Trending.
Okay, I want to know what are the top 5 trending reels in India.
Ooh, it's got danceability, energy,
Danceability
loudness,
is a category. I didn't know.
acousticness, valence, tempo.
Assuming popularity is a measure of how trending these songs are, we can look at the top 5 most popular songs. Let's do that. Interesting.
This is the thing, it fills in context. Obviously, sometimes it fills in rubbish also, but this is what I like about it. It will just YOLO make assumptions and move with it.
Alright, Daylight by David Kushner, popularity is 98. Cupid, Antihero, I'm Good, and Calm Down. These are top 5 trending songs based on their popularity on Spotify.
Interesting.
What else?
Ask for what percentage of the songs are dancey.
Percentage of the songs are dancey. Danceability attribute describes how suitable a track is for dancing. 0.0 is least danceable and 1.0 is the most danceable.
See, it's picking a threshold. It's saying anything above 0.7. It's picked the threshold by itself. I love this. Sometimes it's wrong, but it makes assumptions by itself. It knows that 0 to 1 is a clamp.
Yeah. Approximately 47% of the songs are considered dancey based on the criteria we've defined. Okay, interesting.
You know, what's a better way to use this, in my opinion? I think every time you have a data set in Excel or whatever, a section should just load on the right that gives you all the insights. Instead of you asking it for insights, sometimes you don't know, right? Like,
I mean, how long before Excel literally has this? It's not very long. I think Google already launched like Google AI Insights.
I have a question, okay? Do you know what OCR is?
No.
So there used to be this really popular package called Tesseract OCR, which is optical character recognition, right? Like let's say you have something printed, you take a screenshot of it, you want to convert that back into text, those images into text, right? So if you want that, now it's probably possible using code interpreter, okay? So let's do this. Let's just download a PDF of something PDF, famous PDF.
Famous PDF. Fucking brain dead co-host.
Okay, we got a famous PDF. The first 3 pages of this. See, it's using an OCR library.
That's a Python script.
It's a Python library. Actually, let's click on show work. PDF to image, and then it used PyTesseract. So PDF to image converted it into an image, and PyTesseract did the optical character recognition. Yeah, here's the text extracted from the first 3 pages of your document. It's pretty cool. You know why this will be really useful? If it depends on how well it can do OCR and whether it can figure out images. But remember, there's a business called Doubtnut.
Yes.
That you can put your 10 standard, 12 standard problem statement. You can just put a screenshot on like their app, and it'll just give you the solution to it. You could potentially do it with this. A lot of printed documents that people have can now be auto-digitized. I mean, it already could have, because people are using, there are apps like Cam Scanner and stuff that do this. But hey, now you have...
I mean, once the Python library exists, then to anyone could, right?
Yeah, but the thing is now what's happening, if you notice, right? With Code Interpreter, a lot of these small apps that people used are all being rolled up into one app inside of ChatGPT. That's the big challenge, right? Like they're taking over everything. There, Google, Apple are taking over entry gating into the app stores. Here, these guys are taking over the actual apps. There's no space left for small guys.
Speaking of which, there is a competitor to ChatGPT that got announced this week. It's called Claude 2. It's currently live only in the US and UK. But because we are cool, we have access to it.
How did we get access?
We have VPN.
All right, let's talk to Claude. So here's what we've done, okay? We've put in lots of tweets from Elon, okay? So we've taken his podcast from Lex Friedman.
Got it.
Friedman, whatever.
Yeah.
And we've just dumped it in, okay? The entire PDF. We've taken his podcast from Joe Rogan Experience, okay? All of it, okay. Now we fed all this in. Now that you have this data, can you tell me 3 things that Elon believes in that the average human might not?
Can you tell me a little bit about Claude? Like, who's behind Claude? Have you used it so far? What do you think of it?
This is my first time using Claude. But one thing I know about Claude and what made it really famous on Twitter is it's got a longer context length. So while
compared to GPT?
Yeah, GPT's base context length is about 4,000 something. And then GPT also released a 32,000 wala context length. But Claude has a 100K context length. But you know what? Recently a paper came out that says, now we can do 1 million context length. Now we can do 10 million context length. Now we can do 1 billion context length. Eventually, I think context length is not going to be
a barrier. All right. So Claude replied saying, based on the text of his tweets, here are 3 things he seems to believe in that the average person may not. Making humanity multiplanetary, merging with AI, engineering as an art form. Interesting. The overarching theme seems to be Elon takes a very long-term species-level view of his things and is focused on existential threats. So this is like Code Interpreter in some way, which is we fed data into it and analyzed it.
No, it's more like ChatGPT in a way, right? In the traditional ChatGPT, just with a longer context length. See, it only allows you to put in PDFs or other text sources. So what it's done is just like we type in the prompt in ChatGPT, and for example, you can type in a prompt saying, okay, here is a article by Shakespeare, and we put like just 3-4 lines, and then we say, okay, write like Shakespeare, right? So it's doing that, except the context that we're feeding in, because we don't want to type that much, we're sending in PDFs. In fact, one of the interesting use cases of Claude, I'm damn sure you can already do, is you can now feed it all of your past videos and say, write a script like Tanmay Bhatt. That should work.
With GPT, it was tough to do. And Claude is also free to use.
Yeah, because with GPT, you'd have to use vector embeddings, and vector embeddings hallucinate a lot in our experience. But longer context windows don't have a hallucination problem. Or rather, I haven't tried it yet, but I'm fairly certain that it should be able to write near match as how Tanmay would write or how I would write.
Oh, really? Now I just need someone to transcribe all the garbage I've spoken on my channel over the years.
You don't need anyone to transcribe it. AI will transcribe it.
Sorry I said that, guys. Edit this part out.
You know what the biggest use case of this is? You can now dump in a book you don't want to read and just be like, what would this book say about this problem? Like I used to see summaries of books and I'd just be like, oh, but it always strips the nuance. Like one of the best books I've ever read is Skin in the Game by
Nassim
Taleb. If you've ever seen a summary of the book, it's terrible. It's like the most generic life advice from the book, right? But the book is really good. So I would love to dump that book back in now that I've read it and just be like, what would Taleb say about this
problem?
This
which is that, oh, I'm working with a co-founder on something, and we have this problem. What would Taleb say about this based on all the knowledge in the book?
Yeah. So those I think are very useful. And I think this is like, I think being an author is special in that way because you have written it and it's not you being pulled out of a podcast or anything else, right? So when you've written it, you've curated it for somebody else to read and therefore you put a piece of your sort of curated knowledge there rather than a podcast where you're free flowing, right? So it has like a slightly more perfect version of you compared to you sitting on a podcast. And I think that's beautiful because you want advice from somebody based on where you are in life. You read a book or you just put in the book and be like, what would this person think?
Yeah, and if you read like 300 pages of someone's curated thoughts, you get a fairly good idea about what they think or how they think.
Yeah.
That's an interesting use case. Someone should try this and let us know how it goes.
By the way, listen. So, we've been talking about AI and I think one place AI is really going to add value is in robotics. One thing Overpowered is starting to get known for is showing and telling. And it's very hard to show robotics because I'm not a robotics expert.
You're just a robot.
But I got somebody who has a history of working in robotics. His name is Rishi. He works in a company called Symbionic and I'll let him tell you his story himself.
All right.
So then when I talk about robots, I think the first step, at least for these sort of lifelike robots, is to first see how the human body would interface with, a prosthetic arm or something. So I looked around and I've actually found a company that makes prosthetic arms. So here we have Rishi from that company.
Hi.
Rishi, want to introduce us?
Yeah, hi guys. I'm Rishi. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Symbionic. And at Symbionic, we are basically trying to build a future of bionics. We are trying to build human parts that can be controlled through thought. And it is completely robot. So 4 years ago, 2018 September, I was going in a bus to Pondicherry and the bus crashed. My right hand got cut. So before that, I was working as a social worker doing multiple things. But then when this happened, and to me, someone who's grown up watching anime and all sorts of sci-fi movies, and I was told that nothing exists that can suit my needs to go back to living normal life. And so that's when it kind of triggered me and my friend. We started this company called Symbionic. And so we basically wanted to build a functional bionic arm that I could control through thoughts. And it's been like a very hell of a fun journey for the last 4 years. We've been building this and we have one user who started to use it now. So it's a big achievement for us.
Can you tell us how you're able to control movement of a bionic arm using your thought?
That's very interesting. So basically, when I lost my limb, I was still able to feel the rest of my hand. I'm not sure if you've heard phantom limb.
Yes, I have.
So there is phantom limb pain, but in general, you can even feel some cuts that was there in your arm and all. So whenever I kind of try to do this, my muscles twitch. And I knew there's something that the data was still there. So we needed to figure out how to take that data and kind of send it across to a motherboard and tell it, hey, open the hand, close the hand. So it was possible, theoretically. Then, we started working on it. We saw a lot of existing work that has been done. And so, obviously, I couldn't buy anything and we had to start working on this. So we started working on the robotic part and then figured out that there's a way to collect these data from your body. So we use something called electromyography. It is a technology that has been existing for 50 years.
Okay.
But just now, we're trying to use it to its maximum, limitations. AI, machine learning, all of it is kind of helping us. So we collect a lot of these electrical signals that go from your brain, motor neurons to your muscle, and kind of make sense out of it. So whenever you try to close or open in your phantom limb, your entirety of muscle kind of bulges. So we place sensors exactly on those points and kind of try and control the arm. So
how much dexterity can you guys figure out with a bionic arm?
I see infinite potential here. I mean, I think you must have seen the scene from Star Wars where Luke gets his arm cut.
Correct.
See, I think that is possible in the future. So? And yeah, definitely. And we're just scratching the surface today. We have so much to invent and prove. But as a starting point today, this arm, it has multiple degree of freedom. So in each finger can move on its own. Thumb has opposable and non-opposable, which kind of is very important for humans. Rotatable wrist and manual elbow. So all of this can be eventually our next version. We can all of these joints can be controlled via thought. So we're using multiple channels of EMG sensors and kind of trying to figure out how it can understand different patterns. So this is a separate pattern. This is a separate pattern. So it's all kind of electrical impulses sending dotted codes to your body.
Before 2018, what were you doing before that? Like, did you have any engineering background, or did you just start figuring this out?
No, I'm not an engineer. I studied visual communication and design. I was very briefly working as an assistant director for movies. I had a media startup called Tungsten. We were trying to build brand identities for other companies. That was a part-time business. And for full time, I was working for a non-profit. So our goal was basically to improve the quality of education for government schools in Tamil Nadu, and which, was major part of my day.
From a media background to suddenly to get into hardcore physical engineering, what was that transition like?
It was not easy. I think initially I had my friends, best friends from school actually. So Niranjan, he is the CTO and co-founder. He he was doing his masters in mechanical engineering back then in Italy. And I was here, and we had a couple of more friends who also initially kind of supported to jumpstart this thing. We got incubated in VIT. So basically what I did was cold turkey quit my job, stop the business, everything, and moved to Vellore. And we got a space and we got a incubation interns and all of that. So we just sat there for a year, and that 1 year was kind of a seed period for me to learn everything I could learn about this. So I spoke to everyone in the country who had any expertise in prosthesis, and also people who tried to build a company like this and failed, because they would have a lot of learnings. So after figuring out how this industry works, where is the main problem, why it costs so much when it shouldn't. If you break it down into first principles, all of this component, whether it be for our product or be it for a 1 crore device, it's the same. So technically it should not be pricing so much, because it is not a sort of a want for higher, it's a need. It's a primary need to be able to, do things for yourself. And we call it ADL. So basically activities of daily living. And the more activities of daily living you're dependent on other people, you lose your confidence, you lose your, and then it also affects other parts of your life. So, and the fact that you can't find a solution in today's day and age, with all of these innovations, was just not sitting right.
So what does a product like this cost abroad? And what are you guys trying to make it be priced at?
So the big companies, the IBMs of prosthesis, are pricing it at anywhere between 30 lakhs to a crore. And this is in the US. In India, these products come with a lot of taxes and tariffs, and that also increases the cost. We've brought it down 10x. We're trying to bring this into the market at less than 4 lakhs, which is a huge, difference from whatever is available as a solution of this scale. You still get like, the Jaipur food, the free of cost prosthesis, which has no function. It just like, it's just a cosmetic replacement. But then it doesn't allow them to do anything. And we thought, okay, let's build something that they can use and go back to work or do things that they want to do. So start aspiring again.
Are you guys hiring? There's an audience who's watching this. Is there anybody is there anything that you'd like to tell people?
Especially people who have, I'm sure some people who watch this have disabilities. What's your advice for them? Because you also lived with a disability.
Yeah, I mean, I think until 2018, I didn't have any clue what disabilities even meant, like, the depth of it. And being a person with disability now, one thing I can say is everything is mostly figure outable. Like, there is no point in giving up or yes, there are limited solutions available, but it is not because it is not possible. It's just vested interest has to be put into places where it's needed. So somebody has to sit and think that can we bring the price lower for something like this, right? So maybe just look out for solutions and don't stop aspiring. That is my only message for people with disability. As for hiring, yes, we are looking for engineers, embedded engineers, firmware developers, people who can kind of hack around PCBs and...
all words that I totally understand, by the way. I don't understand these, but I'm sure there are people who are watching who might get it.
I mean, I understand a fraction of it myself.
Anyway, guys, if you want to get in touch with Rishi, do write to him. We're linking a contact email in the description. Dude, thank you so much.
Thank you
for joining us.
Yeah.
Thanks, Rob.
Thanks.
All right. So the next thing is about deepfakes. Okay. Now, we've done deepfakes in the past. We did one with Ranbir Kapoor. Check the video out. But there was a difference between what we used to do in the past and now, right? In the past, we used to put full videos in. We used to rip all the source images out. We used to rip all the destination images out. We used to train the source on the destination. It was painful, to say the least, and it would take 3-4 days. But now, you can swap any video with just an image. I can take any image and kind of just beam it on top of some footage of you, right? So the tool is called Roop. Okay. I'll tell you quickly how to use it. You go to GitHub, you download it. So we already set up Roop. It takes a little bit of time to set up. But once you've set it up, you just do run.py.
What is this bloody window and all? I just want a chat interface on top of everything.
Then run.py. Okay. So we're just going to run it. We're going to run Roop. And it's going to pop up a nice little interface for us. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to first select a face. So let's put Mukesh Ambani. Let's select a target.
This is a clip from one AIB video that we had done.
Okay. So let's watch the source clip first. Okay.
How will they hide it? Cheers.
Okay.
So we're going to swap it with
Mukesh Ambani, app clip for that.
Okay. Start. Okay. It's on its way.
Oh, wow. That was quick.
Yeah. Compared to deepfaking in the past, it was horrible. So what's happening here is the same technique that's used in the Midjourney face swap, inside face, is being used here, but it's being used for video. It's pretty cool. Okay. And let's just watch the final video.
How will they hide it? Cheers.
It's not bad.
Yeah, it's... I don't know how I feel about this. First of all, shouldn't be this easy to deepfake.
Yeah, it's gotten very easy now.
It shouldn't be this easy. Second of all, I'm sorry, Mr. Ambani, that we did this to you. And thirdly, it's ease of use is there. It's like super easy, super quick, but it's still not like my hand went in front of my face, right? And at that point, it got a little blurry, and it obviously
That's
looks like
true even for old school deepfakes.
Or if a hand goes in front of your face, it's like
It will break a little bit. So what most people have to do is like rotoscope for those.
for that particular.
Yeah, it's called XSEG. You'll rotoscope for those frames, but eventually it's going to be automated. Like it's gotten so easy. Like it was so difficult a year ago
to deepfake on video.
With images, it was still like insight existed, but now that it's become so easy to do on video, it's just like it feels like we're almost there.
Yeah, it's not great at least this particular example, but maybe it's because our source image was not that high res, the video wasn't that high res.
Yeah, and you're using one image, no? You have no idea how the face will look from the left or the right. Eventually, one of these tools will come out. It'll just be a cloud platform. You just drag in a video, you drag in an input, you drag in an output, it bakes a video for you, and you're done.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm amazed or scared because it shouldn't be this easy to fake something, man. Like
It's getting easier.
It's getting easier. Anyway, on that very optimistic note, that's it for today's episode. Guys, keep subscribing, commenting, liking, do everything else. We have to surpass Varun's YouTube numbers. That is my primary goal. When I walked into this office many months ago, I said, I'm going to destroy you. And we are very close to it. Keep doing that. Let us know what you want us to cover on the next few episodes of Overpowered. See you next time. Check us out on Instagram.
Bye.